So we saw the Emerald Lakes and then had about 10 kilometres to go, and I probably played down how painful the ascent was, but it was bloody awful, and I was having to stop a lot more than usual and was just so irritated. It was raining, I hadn't had any caffeine, I just couldn't, I was just so annoyed because I wanted it to be such a great day and for me to see something that is just so momentous in my mind and has been such a big part of growing up, and I didn't see it, and well, those things happen, so it was unfortunate, but the descent was very nice. The first kind of 4K where you were kind of winding down with the hills and had a great view of the countryside as we'd just gone a bit lower than the clouds, so it was less foggy there, and that was really nice. But that kind of windiness just continued and continued, and as I was going down, my quads were just hurting more and more. The pain in my groin wasn't going away, and my feet were really giving up on me. And it took me a good 3.5 hours to do 10K of descent, and I had to stop a few times. I was just getting really annoyed. It was getting darker, and then it got to about sunset, and I could see Lake Takao, which was beautiful, and I could see part of the mountain, but it was still completely covered by fog at the top, which I think is a common theme here, as today it is even foggier than it was yesterday. So it was getting later and later, and I still had a long way to go. There was a nice downhill bit at the end, but it wasn't like for the entirety of the track, you weren't walking on dirt or grass. You were walking on just kind of this plasticky boardwalk that had like hexagonal shapes on it, so it's really firm on your feet, and it was just hurting a lot. There was no cushioning to it, and it was just infuriating for me because my feet were getting worse and worse, and there was no kind of cushion to it. Whereas when you're walking on snow or on grass, there's less of that, or even when it's wet, because it just kind of squishes into the ground. But because they were trying to preserve the layer of earth, like you were just walking on what felt like that was something that was giving you no give and no protection on your knees and your feet. So not great from that standpoint. We continued to walk as always, but I kept on doing these kind of old man kind of leaning back poses and praying to myself that this was going to end sometime soon. And it got to about 5:30, so about 15 minutes past sunset, we got to the Katahi Falls, which is like the end of the trail, and it says you finish the trail here. But then from there to actually get to the car park, it was another hour and a half, and then at the car park it was completely bloody empty. So clearly either the shuttle does not run in winter months, or I could have parked the car there and then just walked up to the top of the mountain and walked back down the same way. I wouldn't have done the trail if I knew that the car park was going to be completely empty. There was no one at either side of the trail telling people that they couldn't park there or anything like that. No kind of guides or anything. And I was just so annoyed. It was just rubbing salt into the wound at that point. And I'd walked 38 kilometres at that point and was just infuriated with myself, with the Crossroads people, because they hadn't communicated with me at all, that I booked it so late, and I'd done a bit of research on it, and there was no means of telling you that you could park there, because there was one car parked there, and I'd seen the guy go up, and as for the whole trail, there were not that many people walking it, that it was completely busy. I mean, I know I got there at 12, but no one's completing the whole mountain trail in 4 hours, so I would have seen everyone who had done the trail, and I was just so annoyed because I could have parked my car there. I could have even walked and started at Katahi car park and walked up to the top there and walked back down again. Just a number of human errors, not only from me but from other people. The Crossroads people I'm very angry with because they didn't even welcome me. They knew I had a booking for then. I turned up at that site and there was nothing there but a toilet which had no toilet paper and was a hole. There was water there, but because it hadn't been used in so long, I couldn't get it undone. So I had to use my own stores of water, which I didn't bring much of. And oh God, it's just so many things went wrong. And then to rub even more salt into the wounds, I had another 8.5 kilometre walk back to where I parked my car. And that was probably the worst walk I've ever done in my life, because I was limping. I managed to twist my right ankle at least 3 times. Good thing I was wearing the Gore-Tex protectors, but I was just talking to myself the whole time. I started just kind of giving up with stuff and getting so angry in my thoughts, and it was just not a good day. And I got so desperate that I tried to hitchhike, but in the 2 hours that I walked on that main road, I saw one car drive past me, had my torch, put my thumb up, and he veered into the middle of the open road just so he could avoid me. I mean, I was wearing all black and had a backpack, so obviously looked very dodgy, but it's difficult to non-verbally communicate that I just need to drive 5 kilometers down the road from where you are to the end of the road which you're going down, and you can drop me off there, and I'm literally 2 minutes walk away. I'm not going to kill you or try and take your car. It's very difficult to say that whilst holding a thumb out, so I probably looked absolutely psychotic to him as I was trying to smile and make myself as look as friendly as possible when I've got my thumb out with my torch pointed to it and I'm trying to smile, going, please, please. I could have got on my knees and started begging, and maybe he would have started laughing and maybe honked his horn at me, but wasn't to be. So 2 hours walking down a main road of nothingness, my phone's starting to run out of battery, and I'm just gradually watching this little blue dot on my Google map slowly but surely make its way, and I end up by the last 3 kilometers, talking to my body, apologizing to them for putting them through it. But if they could just believe in me for another hour to get me back home, everything was going to be fine, because I didn't want to stay at Crossroads again and had booked to go to a place called Wakapa Village Holiday Park, which had laundry, a shower, because I hadn't showered in 48 hours. I hadn't done my laundry in 10 days and was wearing clothes that I'd already worn for a hike again and absolutely reeked. And so I was really, that's all I was thinking about, this shower, doing my laundry and having a hot meal. But we made it back to the Crossroads, and unfortunately the gate was shut and locked, and it was about 8 p.m. at that time, and I hadn't met the owners, so I didn't know where they were. There was a house right next to the gate. So I got to the house, and about 5 dogs start barking their asses off, and they just sound like attack dogs. And so I'm trying to shout out, because the house has a window open, so, and I always think, oh my God, this is so dodgy, like what am I doing? Like, it's just been a day from hell, and I'm still not back at the car in the warm. My legs still hurt, and I just want to lie down. So I'm saying, hello, is anybody there? As the dogs are going absolutely mental. So surely the owner is going to be curious as why the dogs are like barking so loudly. And I was going, hello, for 5 minutes, and I could see a silhouette moving. I was like, hello, are you the owner of Crossroads? No reply. So I'm there, and I'm looking at the gate, and I can see my car in the distance. So the gate's locked, so I know I'm not getting out anyway, which is fantastic. So I've wasted 25 New Zealand dollars on a place which I can't stay at. I can't shower, so I'm still stinky, and I can't do a number 2 because I've got no toilet paper. I can't have a shower because there's no shower at this place, and that was at the caravan park. So many reasons why I'm even more angry than I was, and I had to jump the gate and act like a proper criminal and trespass, even though my car was there and I had a booking for it, and ended up just kind of getting back to the car and lying down, falling asleep at about 8:30 after watching a few episodes of Lost, season 1 of Lost, a great series, American series where these people a plane crashes and these people are lost on an island. Pretty self-explanatory, but absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend it. It's one of those noughties American shows that is, the season 1 is really bloody good. But so that made me feel a bit better. But honestly, folks, the day from hell, and in total, I had walked 53.8 kilometres. That was not my intention at all when I thought I'd be climbing Mount Doom. It took me 11 and a half hours. 11 and a half hours of walking. That is terrible. I thought my body was going to die and I was going to have to sleep on the side of the road. One of the worst days of my life, of what could have been one of the best days of my life. But I guess not many tears were shed. And you live and you learn, like I said a few episodes ago. Try and learn from every mistake and try not to repeat that mistake again. So hopefully we'll never be walking 55 kilometres again by oneself, 3 hours in the dark, having ran 15 minutes and it made it 10 times worse. So a great start to New Zealand. Hopefully it only goes up from here, but my expectations now are very low. But I hope you've enjoyed me giving you some advice of how not to climb Mount Doom. And thank you very much for listening. You'll hear from me in the next one. Goodbye.